welcome to Scrappin with Sheri and page 52 in our sketchbook. Now, if you have been following me on this sketchbook journey, you know that most of my sketches have been from a trip we took out west in the fall of 2023. And guess what? Here's another page of it. We visited the Utah State Capitol, which is beautiful, by the way. And I had some pictures left from it that I wanted to do. And in sorting through some of my papers, I found some of these left from the secret box. And I decided these were perfect for this particular layout. Now, you'll notice that I've already got my pictures laid on my papers because I was playing around with colors, trying to decide what to do. And I love the way that this background pulls out the teals that are in some of the pictures inside the state capitol. Now, my initial plan was just to put these pictures down, add a couple of peekaboo pockets on each page just to get all of the stuff in there, and then finish this. But when I flipped to page 51 and saw the look of this, I thought that's going to be perfect for these two pages. Now, I am going to use the Damask Flourish punch and do this punch on the outside edge. This is an attached punch, which means it doesn't come off the paper. And that's the look I'm going for because I want it to stay on this paper. Now, they've also trimmed this paper down just a little bit to make a border show all the way around. I think I'm going to punch first and then trim down. But I'm trying to keep my pictures kind of in order as to where I had them, so I don't have to rethink the whole plan in just a minute. Now, I do this a lot with my albums. I will start working on a page and I'll think, oh, such and so sketch would look really good with that. So I'll just lay it aside until I get to that sketch. But that's easy enough to do because I use the power sort boxes to put all my vacation stuff in. Now, if you don't know what the power sort boxes are, it's this nice little black box, and mine is kind of in disarray right now. It's a hard plastic black box, and it comes with little dividers, but I'm reaching the end of this project, so I've just added my pages inside here. But I sort my pictures according to 2-page spreads into this power sort box, and when I get to the next page, I'm ready to go. And you can see I only have like 4 pages left, and this album for the Out West trip will be finished just in time for us to start our next trip. These were some leftovers that I had that I've just put to the side in case I wanted to go back and use them. But this box just folds right up. It also has a little rubber band that closes the top of that and holds it. So when you're traveling, your pictures and papers and things are not going to fly all over the place. That's what has made this project so easy for me. And I can move from page to page because I can stick the pages I've completed back in the power sort box in order when I get them finished. Now, I'm going to try something I don't normally do, but I do know that I want this punch on my opposite sides of my pages. So let me just lay these out and make sure what's going to be opposite sides. I'm kind of trying to flip. So this area is top and bottom. This is top and bottom. So these are going to be my 2 opposite sides. I'm going to punch both of these at the same time and just see how that works. Because this is a thinner paper, I think it's going to be fine. Maybe famous last words, huh? And remember, when you're punching with these border punches, you line up first on the black line on the front. And then you slide and cover up your blue space. And once you cover up the blue space, you just punch again. And that keeps your pattern consistent. So far, so good. Now, this paper, I think I mentioned, is from the secret box that came out in, I believe, January of 2024. So if you didn't get that secret box, I know you're just sad about that because this paper is absolutely gorgeous. Everything in this box has been so beautiful. All right, so we've got our punching done already. And just clean up my scraps here. And that'll be here and here. But we do need to cut this down a little bit. Now this shows that it's a 10.5 by 11.25. I don't really feel like I want to cut that much off, but let me look at my pictures. How about we start with our pictures and then decide what we can cut off. Now this is in a peekaboo pocket, so that's going underneath. We've got this one here. And I didn't really want to spend a lot of time cutting down my pictures on this particular page, so I think this is going to work. Now here's what I'm going to do. This is kind of a backwards roundabout way to do this, but I think I'm going to stick my pictures down minus the peekaboo pockets and just kind of get them close to each other, and then I can go back and cut around that outside space. So let's get the tape runner. And I am trying to be mindful of the fact that that design right there, I don't want my pictures to overlap that design. So let's just stick this copper behind that, because that's what I'm going to use for my background anyway. You can see why I felt like this would be just a great paper to use for this trip to the Utah State Capitol. Their colors had a lot of the coppery look to them, a lot of gold. There was a good bit of that teal color, just very, very pretty colors in that Capitol building. We have visited a lot of the Capitol buildings, and we both agreed that this one was one of the prettiest that we had seen, both inside and outside. And I did do some pages of the outside of it already. You'll see those when I do the album flip through, when this album is finished very, very soon. Only a few more pages to go, and some of them are not sketches. Some of them are just ideas that I had, things I showed at one of my in-person events, and I used those pages. But this has been a definite work in progress, and I've really enjoyed the journey of reliving those memories. Now let's do our opposite page, and then we'll cut them both down at the same time. And that's going to give us plenty of space to cut down, just so everything's going to show up nicely. Oh. Now let's see if I can figure what goes where. That goes with this. And y'all, when I'm trying to get my pictures in order, you know, I told you that I had these developed through Shutterfly, and they put the number on them, which helps me keep them in order. But I'm also looking at, okay, this front of this particular place is that right there. It's that part. And the front of this one is actually this right here. Now, did I have something to go? I think I was just going to put this peekaboo pocket on top of that, maybe, because that's the judiciary branch, and we didn't really take a picture of the inside of it. All right. And I'm looking at lining this page up so that the pictures are basically even with the top of that page. I want them to kind of correspond in that respect. This is a peekaboo pocket, so I'm going to set it aside because those will go on after the page protectors are on. You know what? I probably need to go this direction with this. Yeah, why didn't y'all stop me? I need to go this direction with this so I can cut off a little on this outside edge to make the frame around it. So let's get these two on. And I'll line up my bottom two below that. And actually with the peekaboo pockets, we're getting a lot of pictures on this page. It only looks like 4 pictures. And I will tell you that this is a basic layout that I use a lot, just because you can get 4 full-size pictures on a page quickly and easily. And sometimes you just don't want to take a lot of time on a page. This gives you that option. And you can put an embellishment in the middle. You can journal in the middle and have it overlap a little bit. Lots of options for pages like this. Now, the next thing we need to do is just trim down the bottoms. And because these are fairly even, I'm going to trim them separately. And we'll just determine exactly how much we can take off. But I think it's probably going to be close to... I'm going to go in just a hair. So I'm going to go to 1.5 inches. I think I'm going to go to 5/8 on that. The only sad thing about that is it's cutting off a little bit of my border here. And I could go just a little bit more. and then trim off that excess piece right there. And I'm going to cut a little off of this side, just so my copper is going to show all the way around. Now, I know some of you would be keeping those little scrap pieces to use on something else. I am not. I'm not feeling that today. I may be digging them out of the garbage can tomorrow, but not today. And we went to 1 5/8, and that wasn't quite long enough. So I'm going to go just a little bit further. Let's see if we got them even. Pretty good. Now, that would actually make a really pretty tag on another page. So, I'll lay it aside for now. You never know. I'm just going to trim off that piece right there, just so it doesn't look like it's random sticking out there. And these 2 pages are ready to stick down. Now, look how pretty that is and how quick it was done, actually. It did help that I had my paper picked. It did help that I had my pictures in peekaboo pockets already. And you know what I'm thinking? And I don't normally do something like this, but I'm going to go to the bottom with this, because I'm just thinking that leftover paper that I just thought I would throw in the trash might be really fun to do a title across the top. Not sure what that'll be yet, but I think it would be really pretty that way. You will notice I didn't use my repositionable tape and tape all those little edges on that border. I didn't feel like that was necessary. And this will have page protectors on it very soon, because it's almost the end of this album. So I'm not too worried about catching it on things just yet. If I were going to store this page, or if this was something I was going to take to an in-person event to teach, I might go ahead and tack those edges down too, just to keep them from flying up. But in this particular case, these are not going to go outside the house until they're in an album protected. So I'll work on the title and then let you see that. So I left you for a minute to go and do my title, and you know, the best laid plans and all that kind of stuff. I had the edges left of this that I was going to do my title with on my silhouette machine, but I didn't line things up well, and I messed up that paper entirely. So I found another scrap piece that kind of coordinates with what I've got going on. And while the machine was cutting, I was looking at some other things. Like this embellishment goes with this collection, this secret box collection. So I like that. My thought had been to do Utah, the Beehive State, but now I'm thinking I may want to do the Beehive State here and then do Utah here and keep my Simply Wonderful on that side. I didn't want to pull this embellishment to the bottom down here, and I didn't want to put it on the top on this side because of that peekaboo pocket. Now, my letters are not showing up quite as well on camera as they do in person because the contrast is not quite enough, but I could fix that too. So let's lay this down and just look at it and see what we've got. You know, I wanted this page to be a quick and easy, and once again, I have managed to make it a lot harder than it was. I seem to be really good at that. But I think we're going to like the effect. And I'm not sure I don't like these letters. I think, although they fade into my background just a little bit, I think it gives a nice subtle appearance. So my thought was maybe I need to add some white behind it. But at this point in time, I'm thinking I'm not going to. I'm just going to leave it and let the title be a little more subtle. So I'm just taking these off of my silhouette mat. I don't know how many of you use cutting machines, but electronic cutting machines, but I think they are just the bomb. All right, that's what I'm going to do with this. I'm going to leave this embellishment here. I am going to do a foam square or two on it just to pop it up a little bit. I don't need a lot because it's not a sticker, so it's not going to stick down to my page anyway. And I'm just going to add that right over here on this corner. That kind of sums up our time in Utah too. Simply wonderful. Now, I think you saw I still have a few pages left of this trip, but they're mostly flowers and buildings around Salt Lake City. So I don't know if I'll do anything really fancy with them, but I probably have some pre-made pages that I can use for that, just to go ahead and get this album complete and done. There's nothing to me like finishing up a project. I like starting a new project. I like finishing a project. Sometimes I don't like the process all along the way, but this one has been a lot of fun, particularly with the challenges from the sketchbook. I feel like it has refined a lot of my skills, helped me practice a few things, helps me try a lot of new things. So I'm pretty pleased with this book. I think this is probably going to be one of the prettier albums that I've completed, although it has taken me longer than I would normally take. Now, in lining this title up on this side, I'm going to kind of get it near the end of that border area. But I want to be sure that the T is inside this area too. So I'm not going to just work backwards. I'm going to work forwards and backwards at the same time. I'm trying to get the bottom spacing about the same between this and this. There's so many things that we do when we scrapbook that we don't really think about until we're trying to explain it to other people. And that's one thing that I notice a lot of people have a hard time with, is lining up titles and things like that. Not necessarily getting them top to bottom, but making sure that side to side they are visually appealing. And that's where it's a great idea to go from each side. It's also easy enough to line up. If you got the Titletopia a while back, you can line it up using the Titletopia. You could even line this up using your 0 centering ruler. And if you're watching me, you're noticing I'm putting this repositionable tape pretty liberally on this, just because I don't want any of these little letters popping up and catching on the page protector when I start sliding those on later. Okay, I need my little lifter stick. That little tiny eye dot is so small. And we'll just pop that right back down. And we've got another 2-page spread completed. Now, minus the fact that I have all these peekaboo pockets that I'm going to have to add on top of the page protector. But I think that's a really pretty look. It highlights the photos, gives us a little decorative element that doesn't detract from our photos at all. And another 2-page spread done. So that was page 52 in our sketchbook, done as a 2-page spread, and we'll be moving on next time. Until I see you then, happy scrapping.